If you work for a firm or a business, United States, Europe, Australia, China, Brazil, or any of the other regions of the world that have privacy laws, you may be spending a lot of time trying to automate and streamline privacy requests. These would be typically things like right to be forgotten or data portability requests. And these apply for personal data of your customers, prospects, employees, partners, and others. And all of that kind of information sits where else but in your CRM system in Salesforce. And in the last few years, we've seen a number of different ways customers have automated or streamlined these processes. And I'm going to tell you really quickly about just 5 simple considerations, 5 easy things you can do. First and foremost, make it super easy for your data subjects, people who want their data removed or a copy of it, make it easy for them to make those requests. You see very, very commonly that there's an email address on these websites. Make that an email to case address so that all those emails are logged as case in your Salesforce, and you can automatically just use Salesforce's wonderful Service Cloud type functionality. You can use the whole case process from there, assign it to someone, or use web to case. So just put a simple form, get information, and submit it into Salesforce, or use a preference center. We make one, so you can get Cloud Compliance's preference center. You can use Salesforce's or somebody else's. Essentially make it really easy for someone to make that request. Definitely don't make them call a number. Don't have anybody manually take this request. Just streamline and automate this portion. Super easy. Give it a very self-service flavor. The second part of this is, now that you have a request, you need to validate this person is indeed who they say they are. And that is also something you can do easily. If you're using email to case, like you got an email from a particular email address, and maybe your Salesforce instance has that or not, you may automatically send them a validation link. That's the approach we take. So whenever a subject access request is created for right to be forgotten or portability, we send an automated validation link to that email address. Somebody clicks it, then they're validated. This came actually from this email address, and that may be in your Salesforce org. So you can then that way connect that it is indeed Saurabh at xyz.com who made this request. Obviously, this is kind of where a lot of legal and compliance requirements get involved. So you may ask them for identification. You may send an SMS to their phone. You may ask them to log in if they use communities or something. Whatever it is, you need a way to validate the person and make sure that the request is absolutely coming from them. Very important from a data security and social engineering hack perspective, validate them. Third part of this is where it starts to get easier from an automation standpoint. You have to standardize privacy request automation. So if you get a right to be forgotten request, you have to automate removal of this data, erase it or mask it from everywhere, from the contact record, account, opportunity, tasks, chatter, files, field history. If they're a community user, then from the user record, all of that. This you can do in a couple of ways. You can use products like ours. We fully automate this entire thing throughout all the levels, parent-child, grandchild, grand-grandchild, whatever, from a parent-child relationship, or even if they have a lookup relationship, a lot of granularity. You could use Salesforce's APIs for right to be forgotten or portability. You'll have to write your own code and figure out where all this data is, kind of how it's relating, and then make sure you wipe it out everywhere or extract it out. So that's kind of the third part of it, standardize this privacy request automation. This is where you really want standardization, because you don't want it to be a manual process where someone misses something and all of a sudden you're in violation. It's not worth it. Besides, just manually doing it is fairly expensive. I talk to customers all the time. They do at a minimum 1,000 requests a year. This is any average company, any mid-sized company in Europe or in the United States or one of these other countries. It's not worth it to spend manual effort doing it where you're not even certain. Anyway, those are the first 3 considerations. The fourth is to have extremely robust auditability. If you did portability, you want to know what information was provided, what records did we pull from. You also want the same thing for right to be forgotten. What information did we wipe? When did we wipe it? And eventually, maybe you just get rid of the entire thing, entire request at some point. Finally, the last step, which is really important, is if you work for a company or if you have clients that have a very active Salesforce org, so a lot of stuff happening, a lot of work going on, the data model is constantly changing, which means the personal data that's getting collected is changing. It's all over the place. It's in different objects. So you want a solution that makes it really easy to declaratively adjust to those changes, particularly for right to be forgotten, where you have to show that you wiped out everything. So that's kind of another area where we spend a lot of time making sure our customers can really easily accommodate the changes in their org metadata and the data model and our product can declaratively allow you to do it. Again, you can build your own solution. Just make sure that it has enough data and metadata driven characteristics so that as you are adding new fields, new objects, new relationships, everything in your solution then aligns to it, and you can make sure you are extracting all appropriate information for portability and removing all information for RTBF. Hope this is useful. Thank you so much.